Hello friends, here's Smart Week with you in today's issue. Waiting for you, a universal spacecraft for improving and creating materials. A new artificial photosynthesis device that is 10 times more efficient than its counterparts. Google and NVIDIA, who along with Sony are fighting against Microsoft because of the purchase of Activision Blizzard. Stelandies that have unveiled incredible concepts for Peugeot and Dodge electric cars. A huge, unmanned ocean scout ship that has been commissioned in the Middle Kingdom, and SpaceX fulfilling this year's first Pentagon order. All of this and more right now. Let's go. Well, let's start today's issue with the founder and head of Keshi Foundation Spaceship Institute, Mehan Kishi, who has made all his designs and patents publicly available. What interested us in these developments was a universal spacecraft for improving and creating materials from almost nothing. This new universal material module, according to the developers themselves, is a small replica of our galaxy. Inside it, you can produce almost any material that future colonizers will need in outer space. The idea behind this futuristic project is that in the dark space of limitless space, it is very time-consuming to take any materials with you to construct a project. People will be able to make whatever materials they need right in the capsule. The inventors say that it will be possible to produce methyl zinc with this universal material module and even use it on Earth itself. In the near future, according to the authors, people will no longer have to carry food, medicine, or water. Everything will be available directly from these capsules. This is how the creators of the project themselves see it. But we think that everything that is done for scientific breakthroughs is all for the better. Can this project find its real application in our realities? Write your opinion in the comments. It will be interesting to read this. And at the same time, intending to reproduce and even improve the first stage of the photosynthesis process, scientists have demonstrated a new semiconductor for water splitting by photocatalysis, which uses a wide range of sunlight, including the infrared range. The new technologies use concentrated sunlight, which distinguishes them from most artificial photosynthesis devices, which lack this option because high-intensity light and high temperatures destroy them. But an indium gallium nitride semiconductor grown on a silicon surface not only withstands sunlight and heat, but also increases the efficiency of hydrogen production over time, whereas other systems do not like heat. This depends on the semiconductor, which absorbs high-frequency light waves that fuel the water splitting process. It is located in a chamber with flowing water, and low-frequency infrared light is used to heat the chamber up to 70 degrees, which accelerates the reaction and suppresses the tendency of hydrogen and oxygen molecules to recombine into water molecules. In laboratory conditions using purified water, the device achieved an efficiency of 9%, and with tap and seawater, 7%. In field conditions, the productivity was 6.2%, which is lower than many experimental samples. But it is cheaper because the design does not use photoelements that initiate the electrolysis reaction of water. All right, let's move on and take a look at what's happening in other industries. Google and NVIDIA have supported Sony's position in expressing concern to the Federal Trade Commission, FTC, of the United States about the potential acquisition of the gaming holding Activision Blizzard by Microsoft. This has added fuel to the fire of the government investigation that is questioning the $69 billion deal. The FTC took measures to block the deal in December of last year, citing that such an acquisition would impede competition in the video game industry. Internal hearings are scheduled for August of this year. Representatives from each company will be invited as witnesses. It is reported that Google and NVIDIA have provided information supporting FTC's statement that Microsoft may gain an unfair advantage in the market for cloud and mobile games as well as gaming subscriptions. NVIDIA, they emphasized the need for equal access to games but did not openly oppose the acquisition. The acquisition of Activision was announced nearly a year ago. Microsoft aimed to revive its gaming business by adding such blockbuster portfolios as Call of Duty and World of Warcraft. Nevertheless, regulators believe that such an acquisition could make it harder for competitors such as Google and NVIDIA to access Activision's most popular games. They are serious players in the industry. The latter produces popular graphics cards not only for ordinary users, but also for its GeForce Now service. In addition, Google competes with Microsoft in the segment of cloud services. The Android platform is a staple for millions of people. who love to gamble. Sony competes with Microsoft in the console market and says a deal to buy Activision would be unfair to the competition. Microsoft has already announced that it has reached a 10-year agreement with Nintendo to provide access to Call of Duty for the company's gaming platforms and has agreed to release future versions of the game on the Nintendo-owned platform at the same time as its release for the Xbox. We want people to have more access to games, not less, Microsoft has already said. Nevertheless, the new evidence will add weight to arguments suggesting that Microsoft may increase through the deal the amount of exclusive content available to Xbox Game Pass users, which already leads the market for game subscription. Microsoft argues that regulators are giving too much weight to Sony's claims and complaints against it. Well, let's move on. The company Stelandies, which is owned by Peugeot, presented the Inception concept car. The 5-meter electric car with an 800-volt propulsion system, according to the manufacturer, can cover the distance from Paris to Marseille or from Brussels to Berlin on one power reserve. The Inception is 5 meters long and has a battery capacity of 112, but Peugeot assures that this will be enough for a trip of 500 miles. The Inception is equipped with an all-wheel drive transmission with 2 electric motors with a combined output of 500 Q, which allows the car to accelerate to 100 in less than 3 seconds. The battery replenishes up to 100 miles of range in 5 minutes using a high-speed charging station. Another notable detail of the Peugeot Inception is the retractable steering wheel, which is hidden under the front panel of the square height. The steering wheel has a touchscreen display. The steering wheel mainly plays the role of an infotainment screen, where the driver can control the navigation and multimedia system. Serial production of electric cars based on this concept is planned for 2025. The same Stelandies, which is also owned by Dodge, presented a concept of a futuristic and brutal electric Ram 1500 pickup truck revolution, which can compete with the yet QB leased Tesla Cybertruck in its appearance. Battery capacity is not yet known, but it is officially stated that the system will use 800-volt architecture, which will allow to recharge for 100 miles of travel in about 10 minutes. Inside, the pickup has 3 rows of seats, as well as a folding rear wall of the cab, which will allow the owner to carry a large load. The luggage compartment itself is equipped with hinged doors and a sliding panel at the rear, making it easy to load and unload cargo. An augmented reality projection display projects important driving details onto the windshield, and the car also has an external projector that serves as an open-air movie theater. Other features of the Ram 1500 Revolution include the 3rd level of autopilot according to the SAE classification. For this purpose, numerous cameras and other sensors are installed around the perimeter of the vehicle. Full production of the pickup is planned for 2024. Meanwhile, according to Chinese media reports, the autonomous offshore exploration vessel Zhuhai-Yun was accepted into service. The ship is controlled by artificial intelligence, although it allows remote control. At the same time, it is itself a carrier for dozens of aerial and underwater drones. With the commissioning of such vessels, China intends to increase its control over maritime operations. The Pearl Sea Cloud vessel was built by the state-owned CC Shipbuilding Corporation in Shanghai. The Pearl Sea Cloud vessel was launched last May and underwent sea trials until the end of 2022. Now it has been taken into service after the final 12 hours of autonomous testing, including launching and recovering drones after the mission. Using its own sensors and satellite signals, the ship successfully navigated its route with all necessary maneuvers. This year, the designers of the autonomous platform at the Southern Laboratory of Marine Science and Technology, Zhuhai, will test the vessel. In a range of survey work, from ocean water sampling operations to mapping and surveillance, the autonomous platform can help in the fight against poachers. Now, let's take to the sky. The world's largest airplane took to the air again for a record-breaking test flight. Stratolaunch's rock aircraft with a wingspan larger than a soccer field was in the air for 6 hours over the Mojave Desert in California, longer than ever before. This was Rock's 9th test flight overall, and the 2nd with the hypersonic test vehicle street-launched Talon A. During the next flight, which will take place closer to the end of the year, the company intends to drop Talon A from the carrier. It also plans to develop the next 2 prototype models, Ta-2 and Ta-3, which will be fully reusable. The company added that, in addition to being Rock's longest flight, Friday's flight was the first time the plane had flown outside the Mojave area. Recall that Microsoft co-founder Paul Allen founded Stratolaunch in 2011. The company's original goal was to launch rockets into space from the giant airplane carrier, but after Paul Allen's death in 2018 and several failed test flights, the company changed its strategy and focused on using the plane for other commercial and government missions, such as cargo delivery and research in space. What's a smart week without space? SpaceX successfully completed its first order from the Pentagon this year on Sunday, launching a batch of military satellites into orbit using its super heavy rocket, the Falcon Heavy. This was the fifth flight of the Falcon Heavy since its debut in 2018. It is known that the main payload for the flight was the Satellite-Based Augmentation System, SPAS, communication satellite which transmits data collected by other satellites to enhance navigation and positioning services. As an additional cargo, the Falcon Heavy was carrying the LP-3A satellite platform developed by the defense company Northrop Grumman. On one platform, up to 6 devices with a weight of up to 700 lbs can be placed. The command announced that all the satellites have successfully reached geostationary orbit. And the end. Thank you for watching. Stay tuned for more tech news and don't forget about the like and subscribe.